also have tutorials available to us under the SolidWorks resource tab right here. Alright, so this is the first time we're going to be working a tutorial out of here, and it's the first tutorial we're going to be doing from SolidWorks. So if we hit the SolidWorks resource tab, you'll get this little flyout menu, and directly under that flyout menu is little tutorials with the little graduation cap mortarboard. So hit tutorials, and that's going to create this new window over here. The nice thing about these tutorials is it's on-screen help. So you'll have a couple resources available to you. You'll have the green book where I've printed all these tutorials. You'll have the actual tutorials directly right here on the SolidWorks resources, and you'll have the YouTube videos once they're uploaded. All right. The nice thing about these tutorials is that if you're unsure of where a button is, you can simply click on the tutorial, and the tutorial's live, so you click on the button and it'll show you where it's at by blinking or highlighting it over on actually SolidWorks. Downside is it takes up some of the working room, as you can see. Our monitors are kind of large, so it's nice in the sense that we can work with tutorial and SolidWorks at the same time. There's two sets of tutorials. There's set 1 and set 2. They are progressive in nature in the sense that we are going to start at the top with the easy tutorials and work our way through the bottom. So if we hit set 1, you can take a look and browse through the tutorials that they have available to us. We'll be doing a bunch of these. So right now, if you look at this tutorial and you're really confused saying, wow, I don't know how I'd actually make that, we will get through that and actually work on that at some point. Today, the first tutorial we're going to look at is lesson 1, which is parts. Okay? So if you click on the tutorial, it kind of has an overview of what the tutorial is, and if you're unsure of any of these steps, you can click on it to actually see it. So if you're unsure of how to set up a new part document, you could click on this and it'll show you. Everyone should be very comfortable with setting up a part document at this point. All right. What you will need is the dimensions of how we're creating this. So if you're looking at how to create the base feature, you could probably work through it in this sense, or it has detailed instructions. So if you're comfortable with getting a box created, a rectangular prism created that's 120 by 120 millimeters, and extruding that to 30, you can go ahead and do that. If you're unsure, you could hit the instruction flyout and it'll show you step by step. All right, so those options are available to you. I'm going to go ahead and just create this as seen here. So the first thing I'm going to do is hit my options and make sure that I am actually within metric. So I'm going to hit document properties, units, and you can see I'm on inches. So I'm going to convert that over to metric, millimeters, grams, and seconds. And then from my front plane, I can go ahead and start sketching this. I'm going to start with a center rectangle, and I'm going to place it right on my origin. You can see on their tutorial they have it their left corner placed on the origin. I don't mind how you draw it, but it's a good idea to always have it drawn in reference to the origin. That way you know where this part is. Okay, so in my particular case, I know that my center is the origin. I can go ahead and dimension this, and we're going to place it 120 by 120. Okay, and you'll notice my sketch turns black. We've discussed this already, but it's always good to have a black sketch. Black sketch signifies that everything is complete. There's no open options for this sketch. It's fully defined. You'll also notice at the bottom it says fully defined. That's telling me that I cannot change this sketch at all. It's located on the origin and it's 120 by 120. I'll go ahead and extrude that out to 30 and check that off. Alright, so we'll go to next, adding the base, and the reason, and this is, you'll see right off the bat why it's good to have this placed on the origin. We're creating a circle with a diameter of 70 millimeters that comes out 25. So if I select this face and normal to that face, tell it sketch, and I'm going to create a center circle. Right there's my origin. I know that that origin is the center of my part. So the advantage of creating about my origin is I have a location of right in the center that I can place my circle. If I didn't have that, I'd have to create some sort of crosshatch, like a construction line from corner to corner to give me my center point. I'll dimension this to 70 millimeters. Once again, black sketch that's fully defined. That's good news. And we can extrude this out to 25 millimeters as our directions say. Check that off. Let's cut the hole. Next. All right. Little bit different of a dimension here. If you take a look at this dimension, it's telling me not the diameter of this inner circle, but rather the distance between the two faces is 10 millimeters. All right. I could sketch a circle here and say smart dimension between the two circles like this. That will give me 10 millimeters. And I see that's a little tough to see. That will give me 10 millimeters. Or I could use the offset function, where I could convert the entities and offset them. I'm going to stay with just creating this circle like this because that's probably the most simplistic for the time being. So I'll dimension between the two circles, and that is 10 millimeters. I'll check that off. I'm sorry, that hole gets cut through, so we'll cut that through. Features, extrude cut, and we're going to take this through all instead of blindly through it. And you'll see that creates the basis of our shape right here. Let's go to next, creating the fillets. There's a couple different fillet diameters here. You see some of these have a radius of 5, some have a radius of 1.5. So I'm going to hit the radius, or hit the fillets with a radii of 5. So I'll come to fillet, and my radius is 5. And I know that all these edges are getting a radius of 5. You'll notice my preview is not currently showing. So I could depress full preview. And that should show us a preview, which is always a good thing. I like to see what edges are selected. All right, all these get a radius of 5, like so. I'll check that off. Okay, and then this top edge right here gets a radius of 1.5. So I'll zoom in. I will fillet 1.5. Hit that top edge, and we're good to go. All right. The shell feature may be a new feature to us. The shell feature, now we covered that in a previous lesson. So the shell feature we're going to use to shell out the back of this. And I'm going to find my shell feature, which we've used, and it's calling for a distance of 2 millimeters. Oops. Let's edit that feature, and we want to remove this face. All right. And you'll see the inside of this part now, because of our order of operations, looks a little different. It's left this entire extruded cut coming through like this. That has to do with the order of operations in our feature design tree. You think about if I changed any of the orders of these up, this part would look drastically different. For instance, if you looked at my fillet up here, if I decided to change the order of the fillet so that I shelled first, this corner might not have a round on the inside. If I shelled first and then filleted, you would have a rectangle or a hard corner on the inside with a fillet on the outside. So what's critical to note is your order of operations right here. Okay? They are going to have us change some dimensions on this because the finished part isn't this dimension. We have to go back and edit the feature to make it a little thicker. So what we're doing is increasing the depth of the model and modifying some of the fillets. So if we go to the instructions, you see that we're actually changing this to 50. All right, this is an important note. On our first extrusion, we first extruded to 30. They want us to change it to 50. And the reason being is they're simply showing us how we can modify and rebuild a part after we've already created it. So I'm going to change this to 50 millimeters. Check that off. You'll see my height grows. All right. And they also want us to change the fillets of the 4 edges right here from 5 to 10. Okay. So I'm going to find my fillet 1. I'm going to edit the feature, and right now they're 5. They want those to change to 10. Okay. Not sure if they want the inner fillet. Yep, that's staying to 10 as well. So We might have to change these fillets to 5 as well. So we'll change those back to 5. And what this is all about is showing us how we can modify after it's been created. So you see the finished, we have 10s around the outside and 5s on the inside. So I'm going to edit this fillet. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to drop out some of these edges. So under my menu right here, I can actually delete out some of the edges. So if I find this edge, I can hit delete. It will remove that fillet. This edge, delete, 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 and we have one more to delete, and then we'll just go back and fillet those again. So fillet, and we're going to change it to 5. That way we have our different dimensions. All right, and that's the basis of how this part will be created. Okay.